These are the turkeys. I'm only going to be live for a few minutes. We're just showing the babies. So I've never had turkeys before. Last week, my oldest son showed up with 2 turkeys. So they've been living in a tote on my dining room table. And occasionally they come in here and visit me. And I slept all evening, woke up about midnight. Now it's about 2 in the morning. So the turkeys have come in here to visit. The turkeys have come in here to visit. What are you doing, babies? What are you doing, babies? Please don't poop on me. Please don't poop on me. And if they do, it's just turkey poop. It won't kill me. All my years of nursing, I've had worse things on me than turkey poop. What are you doing, baby? You yawning. And I don't know anything about turkeys, but I found out these are like broad-breasted turkeys or something like that. So unfortunately, these are the turkeys that grow really fast. They're made for, like, you kill them when they're about 20 weeks old normally. These are the turkeys you buy for, like, Thanksgiving dinner. So they're real bad, like, they outgrow their feet and stuff like that, so they'll get bumblefoot. And if they don't get bumblefoot, they'll get breathing problems, and they don't have a very long life expectancy at all, because they're made for meat turkeys, and I hate that because they're super friendly. So my husband, who did not want me to get turkeys, has now gone online with me to look for heritage turkeys, because they aren't made for meat turkeys like that. They're still friendly though, but they they have like a 8 or 10 year life expectancy. So, but I really like these little guys. So I'm going to try to keep them healthy as long as I can. I bought some chickens one time, and a broiler chicken had accidentally got in with the group of regular laying chickens that I bought. My broiler chicken got really heavy really quick, and by the time it was about 16 or 18 weeks, it was starting to get bumblefoot. There was nothing we could do, and it died. So these little guys are super friendly though. They're friendly little turkeys. They're friendly little turkeys. And if you sit them over on the bed, which I did, I set them over on the other side of the bed, because Ernie's out of town at work. I set them over on the other side of the bed, and they came straight to me. Ernie came home, what is today? Sunday. Well, it's Monday now because it's after midnight, but Friday night, God love him, Ernie came all the way home from work because I called him. I was passing a kidney stone. I don't understand that at all. It was on my right side. I felt it. I had been on the phone with Ernie that evening before he went to bed, and I'm afraid he's going to poke me in the eye. I had been on the phone with Ernie before he went to bed that night at the hotel, and I got off the phone with Ernie, so he's going to poke me in the eye. About 15 minutes later, I felt it. I mean, I felt it, And I knew immediately. I was like, I've got a hair or something on my tongue. I was like, oh no, oh no. I felt it coming. And I thought, and I was like, well, now this doesn't make any sense because it hasn't been maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it seems like. I just had surgery on my right kidney. I had a 12 millimeter stone, which, if you know anything about kidney stones, 12 millimeters is a huge stone. I mean, it's a huge stone. Like, um, you know, when they go in usually and take my stones out, about usually once a year, I have one so big that it occludes. And they have to go in, do the lithotripsy and bust it up and put a stent in and all that rigmarole. About once a year, I have to have that done. Well, 12 millimeters was so big, it was like still in my kidney. It was at the top of my ureter stuck. It was so big it wouldn't even go. Usually, you know, they go a little bit in the ureter and then they get stuck. Because they're like 8 or 9 millimeters. But that one was so big it wouldn't even go in my girder. You know, it was up at the top, still like in the kidney. And so my doctor, because I take aspirin every day, he didn't want to do the lithotripsy right then. So he went in and knocked it loose and put a stent in to stop the occlusion and let me stop my aspirin for like a week and a half. And then he went in and did the lithotripsy and he took all the pieces and everything out. And I had several more stones in my right kidney. So he went ahead and busted them all up and took all the pieces out. And he said he was, you know, was very careful to take all the pieces out because I did not want another stent in. Because I'd had that stent in for a week and a half. And that stent had been very painful for some reason, much more so than normal. So I did not want another stent put in. And so he made sure he basketed all those pieces of stone out. And this was maybe about 4 months ago. And so they did, you know, scans and stuff and made sure that he got all those pieces out. And I've not had any more pieces, any more problems. And then Friday night that started. And then after a few minutes, I thought, now wait a minute, that's my right side, and that's the side I just had that stent and stuff in. So, and after surgery, they started me on 2 new medicines to help stop me producing so many kidney stones like this. And I thought, well, now how in the world am I ain't pooped on me, has he? I thought, how in the world am I producing, have I produced another, because if they're small stones, like sometimes I pass them and like I can almost, like I'll have some really slight discomfort, but it doesn't, it doesn't even reach a level of pain, you know. So, but this was definitely pain and a stone. And I thought, how have I gotten a stone that's painful this quickly? Sometimes I'll have several a year, but he took all of them out of that right kidney because he had to go all the way up into my kidney anyway. So I should have been starting from scratch on that right side. And with those 2 new medicines, I should not have anything very big at all on that right side. I don't understand. I so I'm gonna call him tomorrow, my urologist, and let him know I had one of, at least some kind of significant size on that right side Friday. But my husband came home. But I mean, I passed it. My husband went ahead and came home. But I had a few really, really good pain pills I had stored back for, such kind of situations. And I broke out two of those and took them, and they finally kicked in, and I thought, okay, well, if it's not going to occlude me, which I thought surely it can't be big enough to occlude me. I thought, well, maybe I'll pass it before. Oh, he pooped on me. I thought maybe I'll pass it before. Oh, your poop looks really good and healthy, dude. If y'all even knew all the stuff when I was an RN, y'all would know why I don't worry about turkey poop so much. There you go, Bubba. Here's my turkey. Then, so I passed it by the time my pain pills had worn off. Because they were really good pain pills. Then, what are you doing, baby? So I made my husband drive all the way home, which was hours and hours and hours for him to drive home in the middle of the night when I called him. And then he missed a day's work over it, and then had to drive hours and hours back home, back to work. We drove home Friday night when I called him, and then he drove back to work Saturday night. What are you doing? Yeah, when I was an RN, I had patients sling everything in the world at RNs. Nurses get abused sometimes. It's crazy. I think nurses are starting more standing up for themselves now, but remember when I worked in the ER, gosh, whew, people come in there drunk and high, and they're bleeding, throw their blood at you, slinging blood at you. You're like, dude, I'm trying to help you. You not realize you need about 15 staples in your head. I'm the one trying to keep you from bleeding everywhere, and you're slinging blood at me. Nobody else here cares if you bleed to death. Nobody but me. I'm trying to help you. Please stop. We need to start having discussions about ER cases. That would be fun things to have discussions about. Crazy people in the ER. Oh, babies. Crazy people in the ER. Crazy ER people. Crazy stuff you see. Crazy people you deal with. I worked home health for quite a while too. Deal with a lot of crazy people working home health too. we had the contract, my home health company, that we did the CPS cases. So we got a lot of medical neglect cases where I was one of the, what's it called, coordinators in the office. There were two of us that were the coordinators. I got stuck a lot with the cases that none of the nurses in the office wanted because they would just be like, I'm not going to see that person again. I refuse. And I could always kind of get along with anybody, So I'd go out there and I'd go out there and end up seeing these people. And there was a case or two that I ended up discharging because I would be like, I cannot go back out there. I can't do it. I can't deal with them. I can't do it. But a few of them were our CPS cases. And I'm not big on CPS removing kids unless, it's a have-to situation. I don't think CPS should go in and gain kids unless it's a have-to situation. But, some of these situations, I don't know how those kids survived their childhood. So bad. So bad. You go out there and the kids have had nothing but water for days. No food, no formula. Nothing but water for days. The parents are eating. The parents had pizza delivered the night before that's sitting on the coffee table. And they feel no shame in that. None. And they're like, well, but they're out of WIC for the month. So they feel no further responsibility to try to get any formula for their infant daughter because they're out of WIC for the month. So that's not their responsibility until the WIC time comes back. And I'm like, are you really? Really? I remember discharging that family because I was like, if I have to go back out there again, I swear I'm going to get in a fist fight with the father. I couldn't take it anymore. I could not take it anymore. I don't even think I'd had my third child when I was seeing them. I hadn't had my third baby yet. So I was in my 20s, late 20s. I was about maybe 29 when I was seeing them. So I was still all feisty back then, And I couldn't take it. It was a horrible situation. Horrible situation. And CPS would not remove those kids. Would not. They said, well, it's not abuse, it's just neglect. And that they didn't have enough foster homes to remove for neglect. I said, but how bad? I remember the caseworker from CPS was named Joe. I said, but how bad does neglect have to be before it becomes an abuse? They're gonna neglect these kids to death. When you show up for a visit and the kids are out in the street and mom and dad are passed out on, I'm assuming, heroin in the bed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the one child's diaper is laying in the yard saturated with pee and poop to where it fell off of her, and she's now naked in the street. I mean, is that not neglect to the point of danger? And CPS never removed them. I mean, maybe they removed them at some point after we left, but they got them back eventually because maybe a year or so after I discharged them, I saw them at Walmart, mom and dad together, and they still had the 2 kids, little boy and a little girl, and mom had a brand new baby. So they'd had another one. And that was, like I said, that was years ago because I hadn't even had my 3rd child yet at that point. So quit poking me in the eyes. So that was, 23, 24 years ago. So yeah, it was a horrible case. As far as I know, CPS never removed those kids. And the only reason we got brought in is the doctor called CPS because the pediatrician, because mom had left the baby, little girl, red hair, blue eyes, had left the baby out in the sun in a playpen at some point until she blistered. And I don't mean she sunburned and peeled. I mean the kid had huge, huge fluid-filled, huge, bigger than quarters on this tiny child, blisters. Huge. And Dad's point was, if CPS wants her to have sunscreen, CPS will have to buy it. And if CPS wants her to have bonnets, CPS will have to buy them. That wasn't what his welfare check was for, because they were actually on welfare, not disability or anything. They were actually on welfare. And maybe we'll discuss that case one day. It's a horrible case. We had a lot of horrible cases, but wonder how those kids turned out. Probably not well. But anyway, I was just showing turkeys at 2 a.m. I tried to get them in here and get them enough exercise and stuff, but even though I put them over there in the bed, all they do is walk back over here on me. They don't stay and walk around on the bed and play or anything. They just walk back over here to me. All right, good night, guys. Say good night, guys. Good night, guys. I always forget how to turn this thing off.